Hello pupils, compliments of the day. How are you doing? I trust you're doing great. My name is Mrs. Hope Peace, a teacher at Sleek Angels International School. And this morning, I'll be teaching basic science for Primary 5. Our topic for today's lesson is technology materials. Technology materials. That's our topic for today's lesson. Now let's look at our lesson objectives for this lesson. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to, number one, list and identify different technology materials. Number two, mention the types of wood, metal, and plastics. Mention the types of wood, metal, and plastics. And number three, state the uses of the above materials. And here we're referring to wood, metal, and plastics. State their uses. These are our lesson objectives for this lesson. Now, when we talk about technology materials, we simply mean those materials we use to produce or manufacture things around us. When you look around your house or in school, around your classrooms, in the computer lab, you see so many things, so many gadgets. To manufacture or produce these things, we need some materials. And these materials are referred to as technology materials. And so in this lesson, we will be looking at these technology materials. We have different technology materials. We have different technology materials, different things we use to produce things around us. And they are wood, metal, plastics, rubber, and ceramics. They are wood, metal, plastics, rubber, and ceramics. These are the different examples of technology materials. But for the purpose of this lesson, we will be looking at wood, metal, and plastics. We'll be looking at just the three: wood, metal, and plastics. That's what we'll be looking at in this lesson. Alright, let's proceed. Our first technology material is wood. Wood. I believe you're conversant with that word, wood. Wood is a plant product gotten from cut down trees. Wood is a plant product gotten from cut down trees. We get wood when we cut down trees. We have two types of wood. We have two types of wood, and they are the hardwood and the softwood. The hardwood and the softwood. These are the two types of wood. Hardwood is heavy and dark in color. Hardwood is heavy and dark in color. It is also difficult to walk on. Hardwood is usually very difficult to walk on. Examples of hardwoods are the Iroquois tree. We get hardwood from the Iroquois tree, the mahogany tree, the birch tree, and so many others. The Iroquois tree, the mahogany tree, the birch tree, and so many others. These are examples of trees we can get hardwood. The next type of wood is the softwood. The softwood. The softwood is lighter in weight and color. Softwood is lighter in weight and color when compared to hardwood, and it's easy to walk on. Unlike hardwood, softwood is usually easy to walk on. Softwood is gotten from shrubs. Softwood is gotten from shrubs. Shrubs are small trees. Small trees, they do not grow big in size. They're not tall and they're not big. They're just very small trees. We call them shrubs. Just like the orange tree, your mango tree, they're referred to as shrubs. And we get softwood from shrubs. Okay, that's it about wood. Let's now move to our second technology material. We have the metal. Metals are natural, non-living materials found in rocks. Metals are non-living materials found in rocks. They are usually tough and hard solids which shine when polished. They are usually tough and hard solids which shine when polished. Metals are also good conductors of electricity. Metals are also good conductors of electricity. When we say a material is a good conductor of electricity, we simply mean that material can allow electric current pass through it. When electric current can pass through a material, we say that material is a conductor. And metals are good conductors because they allow electric current pass through them. We have two types of metals. And they are ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Let's look at these types of metals. Ferrous metals are metals that contain iron. They are metals that contain iron. And because they contain iron, they are magnetic. Because they contain iron, they are magnetic. Magnetic is a property of a material that makes it able to attract a magnet. When a material can attract a magnet, we say that material is magnetic. Ferrous metals are magnetic because they contain iron. Examples of ferrous metals are cast iron, mild steel, stainless steel, and so many others. Cast iron, mild steel, stainless steel, and so many others. All these are examples of ferrous metals. Remember, ferrous metals are metals that contain iron. And because they contain iron, they are magnetic. They can attract a magnet. Now, the non-ferrous metals. Non-ferrous metals are metals that do not contain iron. They are metals that do not contain iron. And so, they are not magnetic. They do not contain iron. And so, they are not magnetic. Examples of non-ferrous metals are copper, aluminium, gold, and so many others. Copper, aluminium, gold, and so many others. So these are the two examples or the two types of metals. The ferrous metals and the non-ferrous metals. Let's look at some materials and know if they are ferrous or non-ferrous using a magnet. I believe we've seen a magnet before. This is an example of a magnet. Now, let's get some materials. These are hammer. I believe you've seen a hammer before. It's made up of two materials. We have the wooden parts and the metallic parts. The wooden parts and the metallic parts. Now, let's see if the metal here is ferrous or non-ferrous using a magnet. Can you see that? It attracts. There's a force of attraction between the two, and so this is a ferrous metal. Let's look at another example. We have, this is scissors. Yes, I believe we've seen a scissors before. Also made up of two materials, plastic and metal. Plastic, the hand is made of plastic and the body is made of metal. Now, let's see if it's ferrous or non-ferrous. It attracts. So, this part of the scissors is made up of a ferrous metal. Next, let's look at an empty mold seen in a can. I believe you've seen this before. Most of our canned drinks, let's see if it's magnetic or not. Oh, no force. There's no force of attraction between the magnet and this material. And so, this is non-ferrous. Particularly, it's made up of aluminium. And so, there's no force of attraction between the magnet and the can. It's made up of a non-ferrous metal, and to be precise, aluminium. So, you now understand what we mean by a ferrous and a non-ferrous metal. You can even try that at home. You get a magnet, check things at home to know those that are ferrous and those that are non-ferrous. Even some of our jewelries, maybe mommy has a gold necklace. To be sure it's gold, you can use a magnet. When you place it on the necklace, if it attracts, then it's not gold, it's gold coated. But if it doesn't attract, it's not gold, because gold is a non-ferrous metal. If it attracts, then it's not gold. If it attracts, it's gold, because gold doesn't contain iron, and so it shouldn't attract a magnet. So all these are ways we can find out if a metal is ferrous or non-ferrous. I believe we've been following. Okay, let's now go to our next technology material, and that's plastics. Plastics. Plastics are materials produced from crude oil, petroleum. Plastics are materials we get from crude oil, which is petroleum. Most persons confuse plastics for rubber. You can hear someone saying, "Get me the rubber bucket." It's not a rubber bucket, it's a plastic bucket. Rubber is gotten from a rubber tree, and the liquid used in producing rubber is called latex. Latex, L-A-T-E-X, latex. That's what we use in producing rubber, and that's quite different from what we use in producing plastic. Plastic is gotten from petroleum. The end product, when you refine petroleum, you can use it to make plastics. Remember, when we refine petroleum, we get our diesel, petrol, kerosene, and the end product, after we've extracted all of this, we can use in making plastics. Plastics do not rot or rust. They do not rot or rust. We have two types of plastics. Two types of plastics. They are the thermoplastics and the thermosets. The thermoplastics and the thermosets. Thermoplastics are plastics that can melt when heated and can be remolded into a new shape. Thermoplastics are plastics that can melt when heated and can be remolded into a new shape. Thermoplastics can be heated and melted. Remember, when we talked about recycling of wastes under waste management, we mentioned that we can recycle plastics by melting them and forming them into a new shape. But that is only possible for thermoplastics. It's only thermoplastics that can be melted and molded into a new shape. And that's why they are called thermoplastics. Examples of items made from thermoplastics are your plastic buckets, plastic plates. Like I have an example here. This is an example of a plastic plate. We also have spoons, plastic spoons. This is an example of a plastic spoon made from thermoplastic. Our waste bin is also an example of a thermoplastic, and our polythene bags. Polythene bags. They are all examples of thermoplastic products. The next type of plastic, we have the thermosets. The thermosets. Thermosets are plastics that cannot be softened or melted when heated. Thermosets are plastics that cannot be softened or melted when heated. Unlike the thermoplastic, the thermoset can't be melted. When you heat a thermoset, it shrinks and doesn't melt. Some examples of items made with thermosets are switches, the light switch. The light switch, we have an example of a light switch here. That's a light switch. We can use it to power on or power off electrical appliances. A switch. Secondly, we have sockets. Sockets, I also have an example here. These are an example of a socket. It's a thermoset. It can't be melted. If you try heating this, it only shrinks in and doesn't melt because it's made from thermosets. And finally, we have the lamp holders. The lamp holders are also examples of thermosets. So these are the two examples or the two types of plastics. Thermoplastics can be heated and remolded. Thermosets cannot be heated and remolded. Let's now move to the uses of these items. The uses of technology materials. We've mentioned some uses of plastics. We said thermoplastics can be used in making plastic buckets, plates, spoons, waste bin, polythene bags, and so many others. While thermosets can be used to make switches, sockets, and lamp holders. Let's now look at the uses of wood. The uses of wood. Wood is useful in the following. Number one, we have fuel. Fuel. Fuel is any substance that can burn in air and produce heat. Unlike what some persons think, the substance or the liquid that it puts into the generator, it's not fuel like most persons call it. It's called petrol. Fuel is any substance that can burn and produce heat. For example, firewood is a fuel and it's gotten from wood. Most persons living in the rural areas use firewood to cook their food, and so firewood is very important. Number two, we have building. We use wood in building. Before you roof your house, you have to get a wooden base. You put roof sheets on a wooden base, and so wood is very important in building. Number three, we have stationeries. Some stationeries are produced from wood, like our books, your jotter, your pencil, they are all gotten from wood. Next, we have furniture. Furniture. Most furniture in our houses, in school, our chairs are most times made from wood. Wooden furniture made from wood. Next, we have wooden kitchen utensils. If you look around your kitchen, you will see some utensils made from wood, like the mortar and pestle. We have the turner and so many utensils made from wood. Let's now move to the uses of metal. The uses of metal. We use metal for the following things. We have so many uses of metal. When you look around you, you see so many things made out of metal. We're taking just a few. The gate. The gate in our houses are made from metal. Our aluminium doors too, they're made from metal. Number two, we have metallic kitchen utensils. Metallic kitchen utensils. That's one of the uses of metals. If you look at your kitchen, you see most utensils are made from metallic materials, like the aluminium pots and spoons. Number three, car body. Car body. The body of a car is made from metal. Number four, we have the aluminium roof. Most houses today, their roofs are made of aluminium. Number five, farm tools. Farm tools. Majority of our farm tools are made from metallic materials. For example, the cutlass and the rake. They are made of metallic materials. And finally, cans. The can of our drinks, like the instance we used a Maltina can. Those type of cans are made from metals. And all these are uses of metals, and so many more. We have different items made from metals. If you look around the house, around the class, you see different items, just like the board. The whiteboard is made of metal. Okay, let's now do a recap of everything we've learned. Remember our topic, technology materials. And we said technology materials are those materials we use to produce or manufacture things that we use. We listed different examples of technology materials. We listed wood, metal, plastic, rubber, and ceramics. But for the purpose of this lesson, we consider wood, metal, and plastics. Remember, we said wood is gotten when we cut down trees. We have two types of wood, the softwood and the hardwood. I said softwood is gotten from shrubs, while hardwood is gotten from trees like the mahogany, the iroko, and the obecha tree. We also looked at metals. And we have two types of metals, like I said, the ferrous metal and the non-ferrous metal. The ferrous metal is a type of metal that contains iron and is magnetic, while the non-ferrous metal doesn't contain iron, and so it's not magnetic. Finally, we looked at plastics. We have two types of plastics. Remember, plastics is made from petroleum, crude oil. And we have two types of plastics, the thermoplastic and the thermoset. Thermoplastics can be melted and remolded. Thermosets cannot be melted and remolded. We also looked at the uses of these materials. I believe you enjoyed the class. I believe you followed through the lesson. And so, I have an assignment for you. Number one, what are conductors? What are conductors? In course of our lesson, I talked about it. So, you should be able to tell me what conductors are. Number two, differentiate between ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Differentiate between ferrous and non-ferrous metals. When you don't do your assignments, you can send it to my email address at peaceujuagu@gmail.com, or you can send it to my WhatsApp number on 0803 506 4272. 0803 506 4272. You can also send in your questions. If there's any part of the lesson you did not understand, you can send in your questions and I'll also give you feedback. I'll give you answers to your question. Thank you once more for being part of this lesson. I believe you enjoyed the lesson because I enjoyed teaching you. And I want you to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay focused. Thank you.